Day 12. Neural to Real.
Hello everyone and welcome to Day 12 of the Undegreed Journey. As ritual, first up was my DSA lecture. This lecture was all about knowing the approach of LeetCode problems associated with Deques, or queues, and evolving a bit of stack usage. First up, the professor kicked off the lecture with the sliding window maximum problem, which is a hard-level question. The goal is to find the maximum value in a sliding window of size k as it moves across an array. He explained the optimized O(n) time complexity solution using a Deque. The key is to store indices in the Deque, always maintaining a decreasing order, which lets you find the current window's max in constant time and store the maximum per window in a separate array and keep appending with each loop. Then, the next question we did was the kth largest element in an array. We'd be given an array and, if k is 2, for example, we have to find the second largest element, but without using sorting. The professor explained the optimized approach. Instead of the O(n log n) time complexity, we learned the O(n log k) time complexity solution using a minute heap of size k. As you iterate the array, you keep adding elements. If the heap size exceeds k, you just remove the smallest item. And when we add an element greater than it, we add it to the bottom of the minute heap. Basically, we append smallest at top and biggest at bottom. By the end, the root of the heap is our answer. This was the portion discussed in class, and it was time for my implementation and to apply the knowledge I gained on actual LeetCode problems.so. I kicked off with a medium-level problem, which is the kth largest element in an array. The DSA lecture part explained what the question was asking, and here's how we solve it. I implemented that minute heap approach. We get n log k complexity because we are using a fixed size heap of k, instead of making a heap of size n. Since k is smaller than n, it is our optimized code for it. Next up was the hard. Before moving on to the hard problem, I challenged an easy level question, third maximum number in an array. I solved it. It was an easy one, so it didn't take that much time. The solution for this is to just iterate through the array once while keeping track of 3 variables for the first, second, and third maximums, being careful to handle duplicates and update them as you go. Then after solving it, I moved on to the hard question, sliding window maximum. To solve this, I implemented the Deque solution we learned. You iterate through the array, and for each element, you first clean the front of the Deque by removing indices that are now outside the window. Then, you clean the back of the Deque by removing any indices that point to elements smaller than your current element. Then you add the current element's index to the back. The element at the front of the Deque is always the max for that window. You can see my code screenshots of all my 3 codes getting submitted and running. After my LeetCode practice, it was time for my daily language practice, and today it was time for Spanish. I extended my streak to day 299 and kicked off the day. Today, I learned about talking about our past, like what I did in my past. This included saying words like no recordamos nada, which means we don't remember anything, and yo practique deportes en la escuela, which means I used to play sports in the school. Nosotros fuimos médicos, which means we were doctors. And like nosotros fuimos a Argentina el otoño para trabajar allá, which means we were in Argentina last fall for our job there. So, it's all about talking about the past tense. I completed my 3 daily quests too, and I was still on the top of the leaderboard on the weekly leaderboard. After completing my Spanish practice, it was time for hitting the gym. It was a full day, so I had to target my back and biceps. I did 2 sets each of lat pull-downs, wide grip rows, then shrugs for upper traps, and finished up my back workout with deadlifts. Then for the biceps, I did 2 sets each of hammer curls, preacher curls, and incline dumbbell curls. So that was all for my gym session. Next up was my machine learning practice, and as you know from yesterday's video, I got into multiple linear regression after watching that Data Labs YT tutorial. Now, instead of revising it on my laptop, I decided to go old school, pen and paper to reduce screen. I made notes on what multiple linear regression actually is, how it's different from simple linear regression, and the 5 key assumptions, things like no multicollinearity, homoscedasticity, and linearity. Once I had that clear, I moved on to coding it from scratch. I hopped onto Kaggle and downloaded a student performance dataset. It had features like sleep hours, previous scores, hours studied, and practice papers solved. These 4 were my independent variables, and the performance index was what I wanted to predict. So, I started coding. Imported pandas, NumPy, Matplotlib, and trained test split from scikit-learn. Then I split the data 80% for training, 20% for testing, and standardized the features using mean and standard deviation so that everything was on the same scale. After that came the fun part. I defined the mean squared error function, gradient function, and built my own gradient descent loop. Started with all weights as 0, found the gradients, updated them step by step, and slowly, the model started learning. I used a learning rate of 0.01 and ran it for 15,000 iterations. There were a few small bugs in the code, mostly variable order issues, but after fixing those, it finally worked. And when I plotted the scatter plot, it looked perfect. My model had learned the pattern beautifully. The final weight showed that previous scores and hours studied had the most impact on a student's performance. The bias term was almost 0, which means the model fit the data really well. My training error was 0.00578 and testing error was 0.00567, almost identical. That means no overfitting, just a clean, accurate model. Next up was my reading session, and I'm currently reading 0 to 1 by Peter Thiel. Today, I covered chapters 7 and 8. Chapter 7, Follow the Money, really hit deep. Thiel explains that creating value isn't enough, you also need to capture it. He defends creative monopolies like Google, saying they're so good at what they do that no one can compete. He reminds us that competition kills profits, but monopolies protect them, shifting the mindset from just surviving a market to actually owning it. Then came Chapter 8, Secrets. This one was my favorite. Thiel says every great company is built on a secret, a truth most people don't see or believe in. He argues there are still plenty of secrets waiting to be discovered, and that the entrepreneur's job is to find one and build around it. By the end, it really made me realize great businesses aren't just about effort or timing. They're about seeing what others can't, and having the courage to believe in it before anyone else does. After finishing that chapter, I jumped straight into my trading session, and like every day, I followed my ritual, opened my trading terminal, checked Forex Factory for any high-impact news, and then loaded up the XAU/USD gold chart. I applied my strategy setup, switched to my demo account, and opened the dollar index to analyze dollar movement. Simple rule: when the dollar index goes up, gold goes down. Then I opened the euro to US dollar chart, same logic, opposite movement. I took a few light trades on my demo account, just to stay sharp and keep my focus engaged. Next, I moved on to analyze the London session, because that's what sets the tone for New York's open. I looked at both gold and euro to US dollar, but my plan for the day was clear: I was only trading gold. Based on my analysis and my strategy, I was planning to short it, but only if the market aligned perfectly with my setup. So I waited patiently. In the meantime, I switched gears a bit, opened my quant prep book, and continued solving differentiation problems. I was almost done with that chapter and ready to start integration soon. So yeah, I was literally trading and studying side by side, multitasking mode on. Then the New York session opened, and boom, it started moving exactly as I had predicted. I opened my prop firm account, shorted 0.2 lots on gold with a $50 stop loss and a $100 target, a clean 1:2 risk to reward setup. On my demo account, I shorted 0.8 lots just for fun, to see how far the move could run. The market started playing games, typical manipulation. It came so close to my take profit, just a few pips away, and then reversed. It wanted me to panic, to hit that buyback button and close early. But I didn't. I trusted my system. I stayed calm. And finally, it hit my take profit. $100 profit on the prop firm account, clean and disciplined. After that, I just observed how far it could go. I had already booked profits on my main account, so I let the demo trade run freely. And it kept going, broke the lows, and finally closed with a $1,600 profit on the demo account. It was a solid session, precise analysis, clean execution, and a reminder that patience always pays off in trading. Then I shifted all my focus toward finishing differentiation. I practiced hard, solved a bunch of problems, and revised all the derivative rules like the chain rule and the formulas for product and quotient differentiation. After going through everything, I finally completed the entire differentiation chapter for my quant prep. Tomorrow, I'll be moving on to the next step, to integration, continuing the journey one concept at a time. So yeah, that wraps up day 12 of my journey. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
The network awakens. Intelligence takes form. Undegreed. The signature remains.